Have you ever cracked a fresh egg into your skillet, thinking you're doing your body a world of good, only to realize you might be making a hidden mistake? Eggs are nature's perfect superfood, but for those of us over 60, how we handle them can mean the difference between boosting vitality or unknowingly fueling inflammation. I'm Dr. Kind. After decades of helping folks like Arthur, I have seen how simple kitchen habits matter most. Today, I will share 5 life-saving tips to keep your breakfast safe. If this hits home, please comment yes below. Mistake number 1: overcooking your eggs, the hidden enemy of your heart. Many of us grew up in an era where we were told to cook everything until it was well done. You might be used to frying your eggs until the edges are brown, crispy, and lacy. Or perhaps you like to boil your eggs for 15 minutes until the yolks are dry and crumbly. I see this all the time in my clinic. People think they are being safe by using high heat, but they are actually changing the very nature of the food. When you subject an egg to intense heat, a chemical process called oxidation occurs. Think of the cholesterol in the yolk as a delicate substance. When it is exposed to high heat, it transforms. Scientists have found that this oxidized cholesterol acts like a layer of sticky tar inside your body. It is not just fat, it is damaged fat. For those of us who are over 60, our arteries are like the plumbing in a beautiful old house. They are a bit more sensitive and less flexible than they used to be. This damaged cholesterol can build up like rust in a pipe, leading to inflammation and stiffening of the heart vessels. You might notice the symptoms of this without even realizing the cause. Have you ever felt unusually bloated or heavy after a simple breakfast of eggs? Perhaps you feel a bit of heartburn or a strange sense of fatigue that follows you into the late morning. This is often your body struggling to process those oxidized fats and the inflammation they trigger. As we age, our bodies do not bounce back from inflammation as quickly as they once did. A small inflammatory spark from a burnt egg can linger in our system, contributing to that general feeling of joint achiness or a bit of fog in our thinking. I remember my patient, Arthur. Arthur is 76 years old and lives in a cozy home in Ohio. For 40 years, Arthur started every single morning with 2 eggs fried in a sizzling hot skillet. He loved that brown, charred crunch around the edges. But Arthur came to see me because he was struggling with constant indigestion and a heavy feeling in his chest that made him worry. We did not take eggs away from him. Instead, I asked him to make one simple change. I told him, "Arthur, I want you to turn the heat down. I want you to stop the high heat frying. If you see brown, crispy edges, you have gone too far. Please start using medium-low heat. Take your eggs off the pan while they still look a little moist and soft. If you are boiling them, set a timer for 7 minutes so the yolk stays creamy like custard rather than turning into that dusty green powder. You can get all the wonderful protein and vitamins from the egg without the inflammatory side effects." Arthur listened. He started poaching his eggs and scrambling them slowly with a tiny bit of butter. Within just 2 weeks, he called me to say his heartburn was gone. He felt lighter and he had more energy to take his dog for their morning walk. By choosing a gentler cooking method, you are protecting your heart and ensuring that the nutrients actually reach your cells. In the comments below, please type the word smooth if you prefer your eggs to be soft and gentle on your heart. This helps me know that you are ready to make this healthy change with me. Mistake number 2: eating raw or undercooked eggs. I often see my friends and patients trying to be proactive with their health by adding a raw egg to their morning protein shake or enjoying those very runny, sunny side-up eggs where the white is still clear and jiggly. There is a common belief that cooking an egg destroys its life force or its nutrients, but as your doctor, I must tell you that the opposite is actually true. When you eat eggs raw or undercooked, you are inviting 2 very unwelcome guests into your body. The first guest is a bacterium called Salmonella. Now, when we were in our 20s, a little bout of food poisoning might have meant a day in bed and some ginger ale. But for those of us who have celebrated 60 or 70 birthdays, our immune systems have changed. They are not as quick to recognize and fight off invaders as they once were. What was a minor stomach ache 30 years ago can become a life-threatening situation today. Salmonella can lead to severe dehydration, high fevers, and a strain on your kidneys that can be very difficult to recover from. The second issue is something most people have never heard of. It involves a protein in raw egg whites called avidin. This little protein has a very strong grip. It hitches a ride on biotin, which is vitamin B7, and it refuses to let go. This means your body cannot absorb that vital vitamin. Why does this matter to us? Biotin is the very nutrient that keeps your hair thick, your skin healthy, and your fingernails strong. If you have been noticing that your hair is thinning more than usual, or perhaps your nails have become brittle and snap easily, it might not just be the passing of time. It could be that the raw eggs you are eating are literally stealing the nutrients right out of your system. I want to tell you about Dorothy. Dorothy is a lovely 68-year-old woman who lives just down the road from my office. She's a go-getter, always busy with her garden and her grandkids. She started drinking a raw egg smoothie every morning because she read in a magazine that it would give her more energy. One Tuesday evening, Dorothy began to feel a terrible cramping in her stomach. By Wednesday morning, she had a high fever and could not even keep a sip of water down. Dorothy ended up spending a full week in the hospital on an IV drip. She was exhausted and frightened. It took her nearly a month to feel like herself again, all because of one raw egg that happened to be contaminated. The wonderful thing is that eggs are a magnificent source of nutrition, especially for seniors. They provide the protein we need to keep our muscles strong so we can stay independent. But to get those benefits safely, we must use the power of heat. Cooking an egg actually makes the protein more digestible. It also neutralizes that avidin protein, so your hair and nails can get all the biotin they need. So please, let us make a change starting today. I want you to stop eating eggs with runny, clear whites. When you fry an egg, make sure the white is completely opaque and firm. If you enjoy a boiled egg, let it stay in the water for at least 6 to 7 minutes. This ensures the egg is hot enough to kill any bacteria while keeping the yolk delicious and creamy. You do not need to give up your eggs, you just need to cook them with care. In the comments section below, please type the word SAFE. This is your way of telling me that you are going to protect your health and cook your eggs thoroughly from now on. Mistake number 3, storing your cooked eggs the improper way. Many of us grew up in busy households where it was perfectly normal to leave a plate of food on the table for the whole afternoon. You might think that once an egg is hard-boiled or scrambled, the heat has made it safe, and it can just sit out on the kitchen counter until you are ready for a snack. But for those of us who have reached our golden years, this old habit is a dangerous gamble. Cooked eggs are a magnet for moisture and warmth, and they can quickly become a breeding ground for invisible threats. The scientific reason for this is what experts call the danger zone. This is the temperature range between 40 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. In this specific range, harmful bacteria like Salmonella and Listeria can double their numbers every 20 minutes. If you leave your breakfast out while you go for a walk or take a long phone call, a few tiny germs can turn into millions of bacteria before you even pick up your fork again. Why does this matter so much more to us now than it did 30 years ago? It comes down to our biology. As we age, our bodies produce less stomach acid. This acid is our first line of defense, our natural shield that kills off many of the germs we accidentally swallow. With less acid in our systems, those bacteria have a much easier time moving into our gut and making us sick. You might notice symptoms that feel like a simple part of getting older, such as a nagging nausea, sudden stomach cramps, or a heavy sense of fatigue that leaves you feeling wiped out for the day. We often blame these feelings on a long day or a bad night of sleep, but the true culprit might be the eggs sitting in your refrigerator. I want you to think about my patient, Howard. Howard is 72 years old, and he takes great pride in being organized. Every Sunday, he would boil a dozen eggs to have an easy breakfast for the week. But Howard was leaving those eggs in an open bowl in his fridge, and sometimes he would leave them on the counter for 3 hours while he worked on his model planes. Every Wednesday morning, Howard would feel a strange bloating and an upset stomach. He thought he was just developing a sensitive tummy in his old age. But after we talked about his routine, we realized those eggs were absorbing bacteria and even odors from the other food in his fridge. So here is your corrective action for today. Please stop leaving your cooked food out on the counter. Follow the 2-hour rule. If your eggs have been sitting at room temperature for more than 2 hours, you must discard them. If it is a hot summer day and your kitchen is above 90 degrees, that time drops to just 1 hour. It is much better to throw away an egg than to risk your health. Your constructive action is to start using airtight containers. When you put your cooked eggs in the refrigerator, place them in a sealed glass jar or a plastic container with a very tight lid. This simple step keeps the moisture out and the germs away. Remember that eggs are a porous food, meaning they have tiny holes that can pull in smells and bacteria from the air around them. By sealing them up, you are keeping them as pure as nature intended. Eggs are a magnificent source of nutrition, especially for keeping our muscles strong and our minds sharp as we age, but we must treat them with respect even after they leave the pan. Please, go to the comments right now and type the word fresh if you are going to start using a sealed container for your eggs today. It shows me that you are listening and taking care of yourself. Mistake number 4, using damaged or expired eggs. Many of us grew up in a time when wasting even a single penny was seen as a mistake. You might find a carton of eggs in your refrigerator that is a few days past the date on the box, or you might notice a tiny hairline crack in one of the shells. It is very tempting to think that if you just cook it a little longer, it will be perfectly fine. But I must tell you, my friends, that an egg with a compromised shell is like a house with the front door left wide open. The scientific truth is that an eggshell is not as solid as it looks. It actually has thousands of tiny, microscopic pores. These pores allow the egg to breathe. However, when a shell is cracked, those tiny pores become massive highways for bacteria like Salmonella to march right into the nutrient-rich yolk. Why does this matter so much more for us as we get older? It is because our immune systems are naturally less aggressive than they were 30 years ago. Our bodies do not have the same level of internal security to fight off these invaders. What might cause a younger person a little bit of indigestion can send a senior to the hospital with a severe infection. There is another hidden danger in how we store these eggs. Most refrigerators have those lovely little built-in trays on the door. It seems like the perfect place for eggs, but it is actually the worst. Every time you open that refrigerator door to grab the milk or a snack, the eggs are hit with a blast of warm kitchen air. This constant change in temperature causes moisture to form on the shell. That moisture acts like a vehicle, pulling bacteria through the pores and into the egg. I want to tell you about Martha. Martha is a wonderful 74-year-old woman who prides herself on her thrifty nature. One morning, she found an egg in her carton with a tiny crack, barely visible. She did not want to throw away a perfectly good egg, so she fried it up for her breakfast. Just a few hours later, Martha was shivering with a high fever and suffering from terrible stomach cramps. She was so weak, she could not even stand up to reach the telephone. She ended up missing her grandson's school play because she was too ill to leave her bed. Martha learned that saving a few cents on one egg was not worth the cost of her health and her precious time with family. To make sure this never happens to you, I want you to start using the float test. It is a very simple way to check if an egg is truly safe. Take a bowl of cold water and gently place the egg inside. If the egg sinks to the bottom and lies flat on its side, it is fresh and safe to eat. If it stands up on one end but stays at the bottom, it is getting older and you should use it right away. But if that egg floats to the top, you must discard it immediately. A floating egg has a large air pocket inside, which means gases have built up from bacteria growing within the shell. Please, take a constructive action today. Move your egg carton away from the refrigerator door. Place it on the middle or bottom shelf toward the back. This is the coldest and most stable part of your fridge, and if you see even the smallest crack in an egg, please do not risk it. Your health is far more valuable than the price of a single egg. In the comments below, please type the word "wow" if you never knew about the water test or the danger of the refrigerator door. It helps me see that we are learning these important lessons together. Mistake number 5. Cooking your eggs with low-quality or highly processed cooking oils. For many decades, we were encouraged to step away from traditional fats like butter and instead reach for those big, clear, yellow bottles of vegetable oil. You might have soybean oil, corn oil, or canola oil sitting in your pantry right now. They are affordable, they are easy to find, and they have been a staple for generations. But when it comes to frying your morning eggs, these oils are often the hidden source of the very health problems we are trying to avoid. The scientific truth is that these oils are highly refined. This means they have been treated with intense heat and harsh chemicals before they even reach the grocery store shelf. These oils are packed with something called omega-6 fatty acids. While our bodies do need some of these, the modern diet gives us far too many. When you pour that oil into a hot skillet to cook your eggs, the heat causes the oil to break down and oxidize. This process creates free radicals and toxic compounds that trigger inflammation throughout your entire body. Think of inflammation like a tiny, invisible fire that smolders inside your tissues. For those of us who are over 60, this inflammation is the root cause of what many doctors call inflammaging. It is the underlying force behind heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even the fading of our memory. As we get older, our bodies lose the ability to quickly quench these inflammatory fires. Our liver and our cells do not process these processed fats as efficiently as they did when we were younger. Instead of being used for energy, these damaged fats can linger in our system, irritating our arteries and taxing our vital organs. The symptoms of this inflammation are very familiar to us. Have you ever woken up with stiff, achy joints that make it hard to even make a pot of coffee? Do you sometimes feel a sense of brain fog or a lack of mental clarity that lasts until lunchtime? We often tell ourselves that this is just the price of getting older. We think it is just what happens when the calendar turns. But the reality is that the oils you are using to cook your eggs might be fueling that fire every single morning. When you eat eggs cooked in these unstable fats, you are essentially serving yourself a side of oxidative stress along with your protein. I want to share the story of my dear friend and patient Harold. Harold is 78 years old and lives in a quiet neighborhood just outside of town. He's a man who loves his morning routine, which always includes 2 fried eggs and a walk around the block. For years, Harold complained to me about his knees. He told me, "Doctor, I feel like I'm walking on rusted hinges." He had tried different creams and pills, but the stiffness never truly went away. When we looked at his diet, I noticed he was using a generic vegetable oil blend for everything. Instead, I want you to use a high-quality extra virgin olive oil or a small pat of real grass-fed butter for your eggs. Harold was skeptical. He thought oil was just oil, but he agreed to try it. About 3 weeks later, Harold walked into my office with a genuine smile. He said, "Doctor, I do not know if it is the weather or the eggs, but my knees feel like they have been oiled." The stiffness had significantly decreased, and his mind felt sharper than it had in a long time. By removing the inflammatory oils, he allowed his body to finally start healing itself. So, here is your corrective action for today. Please, stop reaching for the processed seed oils. Stop using margarine or those cheap vegetable oil spreads. They are not doing your heart any favors. Instead, take a constructive action and choose a stable, natural fat that nourishes your body. The role of food is to be our medicine, and the quality of the fat you use is just as important as the egg itself. Your best options are extra virgin olive oil, real butter, or avocado oil. Extra virgin olive oil is a cornerstone of the Mediterranean diet and is loaded with antioxidants that protect your brain. Real butter, especially from grass-fed cows, provides vitamin A and healthy fats that support your gut. If you like to cook your eggs at a higher heat, avocado oil is a magnificent choice because it does not break down easily. By making this one small switch in your pantry, you are protecting your cardiovascular system and giving your joints a break. You are choosing a path of vitality instead of inflammation. It is a simple change that costs very little but pays back in huge rewards for your long-term health. In the comments below, please type the phrase, healthy oil, if you are going to make the switch to olive oil or butter tomorrow morning. It lets me know that you are ready to take this important step toward feeling your best. Now, Arthur, Dorothy, and Harold are all enjoying their breakfasts without worry. Eggs are a wonderful gift for our strength and brain health, but we must treat them with love and wisdom. In the comments below, tell me one small change you promise to make tomorrow morning. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe to join our little family. Share this with a friend who loves their eggs. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.